Hey guys, Darren Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Tonight we have Mr. Ken Morris. Ken finished in the top 10 last year on Lake Martin, so we're very excited to have him tonight. We'll be talking to him about the BFL tournament coming up with Major League Fishing in the Bama division here in the next few weeks. Ken's just a very, very good angler on Lake Martin, so we're excited to be talking to him. Before we get started, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're getting notified when all of our content is dropping. We've been having a blast talking to all these BFL anglers. We have a lot more content coming, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And then check us out on social media. That's going to be Revital Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram. And then if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, we're a premium CBD company. We're THC-free, made right here in America. We have a full lineup of premium CBD products, great for all outdoor enthusiasts. So whether you love hunting or fishing, this is a great product for you to help you stay in the field and be more comfortable. So check out our website, revitaloutdoors.com. And then also, if you're avid into the outdoors and you feel like you could represent Revital Outdoors very well, we actually have a pro staff program. So check out the pro staff tab on our website, fill out the application. We'd love to get you on board and represent Revital Outdoors. But enough of that. That's housekeeping items. Let's go ahead and bring him in. I'm very excited to talk to Mr. Ken Morris tonight. So let's get him in here. Top 10 last year, Lake Martin. How you doing this evening, bud?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Bud. So, well, man, I know before we got on the podcast, we were talking about you've been on Lake Martin. I looked up your profile on Major League Fishing. You've had a lot of great success there in Alabama, but specifically to Lake Martin. So talk to us about the tournament last year and what were some of the keys to your success to getting that top 10?
Well, whenever I went down and pre-fished for that tournament last year, I tried different things, shaky head, jig, and I just could not get a bite. I mean, when I would get a bite, it just wouldn't be that great a bite. And I started noticing the water temperature getting up 56, 57 degrees. And in Alabama, the spotted bass generally like to start spawning at about 55, 56 degrees. So I started running points and found out really quick that on a lizard, Carolina rigged, if I drug it really slow across those beds, I could get bit. And it worked really well that day. I had a seventh place finish. And again, in the BFLs in the state of Alabama, we have some sure enough hammers. And I was very pleased with that showing that day. And I got some more tournaments coming up. I just actually fished one this past weekend on Lake Martin, and I got one in 2 days on Lake Martin. It's the Federation tournament, Alabama Bass Federation tournament.
Fantastic. So, well, let's talk about just generic information about Lake Martin. You talked about the spotted bass. For anglers that have never been there before, never even heard of Lake Martin, talk to us a little bit about the lake and what you like about it so much.
Well, I like the lake because it's a deep, clear lake. It has blowdown trees, brush piles, tons of docks, and I love to fish that way. And if I had to give one piece of advice, if I was going to go down there and just take someone on a guide trip, I would probably tie on a shaky head worm or a wacky worm in a green pumpkin and catch all the spotted bass you want to catch. When the wind's blowing, of course, they love a spinnerbait down there. I fish a Davis spinnerbait, and I've won some good money fishing that spinnerbait down there.
Cool. You're talking about spinnerbaits. I'm originally from Oklahoma. You're talking my language, so that's really awesome. So you mentioned fishing a Carolina rig last year on points. Is that something that's does pretty well in Lake Martin? Is the main lake and secondary points? Is there brush piles there? Is there structure? Why do they get up on the points?
Well, there's not a whole lot of structure on that lake other than the boat docks and people that has put the brush tops out. So points, especially during that time of year, those fish are gonna move up on those points before they go back to the back of the pockets to spawn. But the spots will actually spawn out on the points. Now, largemouth bass, there is a largemouth bass on this lake, and they're a little bit harder to catch. They're more well, right now it's been really cold, so the largemouth bite has been pretty hard to find. if you're familiar with the lake and you've got brush piles and you can catch some of those big largemouths out of there. Matter of fact, this past weekend there was 2 or 3 6-pounders caught out of the brush piles. So we do have some good population of largemouth on that lake, but most time folks fish for spotted bass.
Okay. And when you talked about Lake Martin being deep, that's one of the things you liked about it. How deep are we talking? Like, I mean, right now, if we're going fishing and we're fishing jigs or drop shots on the bottom, are we looking 10 to 20, or are you going 20
Oh
to
no, no,
30
no,
or
no, no.
deeper than that?
Well, if you're going to fish a drop shot, you can drop shot 40 foot of water. But now the deepest point of that lake is right at 200 feet. Of course, I don't fish anything like that. But if I'm fishing a shaky head or a drop shot, 30, 40 feet, that's pretty regular. So, or even dragging a Carolina rig. But now we
Okay.
do have some shallow shoreline, and that's really good for the spinnerbait bite or crankbait. Matter of fact, a lot of fish that was caught this past weekend was caught on a red like crawl color crankbaits.
Kind of like a DT6 or the
Yeah.
Spro
Well,
rock
we
crawler
was
or something
actually
like that.
throwing a 6XD. I mean, I'm sorry, a 3XD, and we were catching
Ooh.
on that and a frit side.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, we're talking crankbaits that are running that 8 to 12 foot range. So
Yeah. Hmm.
very, very popular technique this time of year, especially on spotted bass lakes. I have to ask, and it's not something I'm privy to talking about, but we do have to ask it. Will the Alabama rig play?
Uh, I'm not really a big Alabama rig fan. I'll throw it if I have to, but on Lake Martin, it certainly will. A matter of fact, this tournament coming up Saturday allows the Alabama rig, and I will have one tied on, but I don't know how much I'll throw it because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll throw it if I have to.
I
But I
got you.
think I think a lot of people will be throwing it.
People that went to school at LSU, they throw Alabama rigs, and then everybody else they throw real baits. So
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's really good information. Is there any docks or any other structure that's holding the fish on Lake Martin this time of year?
Oh, docks are huge on Lake Martin. I spend a lot of time fishing docks because if you find the right docks, they'll have plenty of brush piles around them and under them. Right now, the lake's down about 10 foot. So, a lot of the boat docks are out of the water, but you can still find some that do have water on them. And just because the dock's out of the water doesn't mean the brush tops are not there. They're just out a little further in front of where the boat docks would be at or where the boat docks are at.
Okay. Okay. Well, changing up a little bit, talked a lot about different baits. Really, you're speaking my language. I love throwing that jerk bait, spinner bait. I'm going finesse, dragging that Carolina rig. What about for a co-angler? Let's say a co-angler is wanting to fish this event, go to Lake Martin to experience it, and he's taking 3 rods. What would you suggest that they take?
Well, if I was a co-angler, and I have been a co-angler, I spent a lot of time as a co-angler years ago, and actually won a BFL down there out of the back of the boat. I have experience doing that. And what I try to do is whatever the boater is fishing, I try to change it up a little bit. And a lot of times I will throw a shaky head. I'll throw a spinnerbait behind them. If they're throwing a crankbait, I'll throw a spinnerbait. If they're throwing a Carolina rig, I'll throw a shaky head. Just something to mix it up a little bit. That way, if they're not wanting one thing, maybe they'll want something else because you're behind the 8 ball anyway. Whenever you're a co-angler, but on Lake Martin, unless a guy's sight fishing or is fishing a specific um, brush top, you have a really good chance of catching fish behind them because there's those spots down there they roam so much that you can catch them just about anywhere.
Absolutely. The other thing I've noticed about spotted bass lakes is they always group up. So if your boater catches a spot, I mean, throw a high percentage bait out there. I mean, a lot of times, fishing, growing up in Oklahoma, I was fishing Beaver Lake. I was fishing Lake Hamilton, Lake Washita, even
Mhm.
down Fort Gibson, Lake 10 Killer. One thing I would always do is when my boater would catch one and he hollered for net, I would throw out a shaky hit or a drop shot real quick and leave the bail open, throw it on the back deck of the boat, and I would go up there and net his fish. And a lot of times when I picked up, I had a fish on because those
Exactly.
spotted bass, especially this time of year, they'll group up with one another.
Well, I cannot tell you how many times that I have fished a top water bait, a spinnerbait, a crankbait, and had a fish on and have spots behind it trying to take the bait away from it. That's happened to me more times than I can count.
Absolutely.
So you're exactly right. I mean, just if you see your boater partner with a fish on, and you're not particularly, and I have run across boaters before when I was a co-angler and say, hey, I'm going to take care of my own fish. You just stay back there and do your thing. And if they had one on, hey, I'd be, throwing up there really close, not getting his way, but, throw in the general vicinity, because they would might possibly be one that was trying to take a bait away from him. So,
Yeah, the
it's something
spotted
I always
bass,
keep in mind.
especially those spotted bass, especially in those deep clear lakes, they're kind of like smallmouth in a sense that they'll follow each other up there. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, usually the bigger fish are the ones you're not hooked up to.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. I've noticed a lot of times that whenever I'd catch that fish, I'd catch that 2.5, 3 pound spotted bass, and there'd be a 4 pounder behind it trying to take it away. Um, now, Lake Martin is definitely notorious for its smaller spotted bass. Um, and if you catch a 2.5 pound spot on Lake Martin, you've done something. And if you caught a 3 pounder, you've really done something. Um, now, on the lake that I actually live on, which is on the Coosa River chain, and I live, I look out my window and I'm on the lake. We have a spotted bass on this lake. It's called a Coosa River spotted bass. Now, it's not uncommon to see a 4.5, 5 pound spotted bass on this lake, and a lot of times the tournaments on this lake will be won on spotted bass. And I've actually seen on Logan Martin Lake, which is the lake right above me on the Coosa River chain, 25 pound spotted bass, 25 pounds of spotted bass, 5 fish to win tournaments. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
stout.
That's pretty stout. Those are really really solid spotted bass. Um, the Coosa River spots, I would honestly put them up there with the spots that are out west, Lake Shasta, some of the California lakes, as far as how big they get. They do nothing but feed, and they can just get absolutely ginormous. But one little thing I will throw out there, and I hope you back me up on this: the days that you want to catch the biggest spotted bass in the Coosa River or there in Alabama where you're at are the days you really honestly want to go duck hunting or staying home. You do not want nice weather to go out there and catch those fish. You want the nastiest weather possible. Now, don't be ignorant and get in a bad windy situation, but if it's, light wind, but it's spitting rain and, cold, you better get out there. I mean, that's when they eat.
Well, the biggest spotted bass I ever caught on the Coosa River chain was on Logan Martin Lake, and I caught a 5.75, and it was so cold that morning I barely could stand it, and wind blowing 20 miles an hour. But like you say, that's when them spots seem to bite, especially whenever they really want like a spinnerbait, and that's when I have caught more spotted bass on a spinnerbait is whenever the conditions are just about as nasty as it can be. They seem to bite it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Ken, we've really enjoyed having you on. You've given us a lot of great information to Lake Martin. I hate to cut this short, but we've given a lot of information, and I want to give you the opportunity to thank all the people that support you. I know you're a professor in college, so that's really interesting to talk to you. So, anybody you'd like to thank, anybody at work, your family, anybody like that supports your fishing career, we definitely want to give you that opportunity.
Well, I definitely have to thank my wife for one, but besides that, I have to thank Sylacauga Marine. They're my boat sponsor, Nitro Boats, uh, Mercury Marine, Davis Baits, Pure Fishing, and Duckett Rods, and BC Industries, which is owned by my brother. They're all my sponsors, and I really appreciate them.
Well, good for you. Good for you. One last thing before we let everybody go. I want to thank Ken for his service to our country. Ken is retired, a disabled veteran with the United States Navy. So for all the service members out there, thank you for your service to our country. We truly would not get to do this without you. I'm actually very heartbroken I didn't get the opportunity to serve our country when I had that opportunity, but God had me go a different path. But that being said, here at Revital Outdoors, we understand that everyone loves the outdoors, and we want to get everyone out there as much as possible. But we couldn't have done any of this without our service members, and that includes our military. So with that being said, we do offer a discount to all veterans. I'm going to put this up real quick. Use the code right there, Veteran50. That's going to give you 50% off all your order. You know, you can use it multiple times a day if you need to. We have a great product, CBD. It's good for inflammation relief, joint and back discomfort, help you sleep better at night, all those different ailments that people deal with in the outdoors. And we, again, just say so much thank you to our veterans. So use that code right there, Veteran50. It'll give you 50% off any order that you give on Revital Outdoors. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, well, Ken, we're going to go ahead and let you go. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, we appreciate everyone tuning into this podcast. Again, we've been talking to Mr. Ken Morris. He got a top 10 finish last year at Lake Martin there in Alabama. So we look forward to talking to you again, and good luck this year with your 2022 fishing season.
Thank you very much, and you holler at me anytime you want.
Absolutely. So from all of us at Revital Outdoors, thank you for tuning into another podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Check us out on social media, and we will talk to everyone very soon. Be safe out there. God bless, and we'll see you on the next podcast.